So we got a coast report to go over today. This is mainly the reason why I wanted to stream tonight, because I got some coast reports to report on. So this year we didn't do a lot of theme parking compared to the last few years, but there were some, I guess, significant developments that I wanted to go over. So we're just going to do kind of a quick little recap here, talk about some of the new things I did in this year and some old things I've done that I've never talked about before. So yeah, it should be quick, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. I don't rehearse these. But yeah, we're gonna go quickly through some of the new stuff we did this year. So starting with some new credits. So last time I did a coast report for Cedar Point was a while ago. I think I did one in 2021 and one in 2022. And I've been there a lot since then. But they've gotten a new coaster since then. And so yeah, Wild Mouse is the new addition to the lineup at Cedar Point. Probably my second favorite Wild Mouse turnout after the one at Kennywood. I think I like better than this one, but this one's still pretty good, probably because the spinning on it is nice and there's some actual like forces on it and there's some speed on it. Most other spinning Wild Mouses and non-spinning Wild Mouses go too slow for the spinning to matter, and they're very boring. But this one's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, Ops is bad. 43 says, definitely agree. Well, it depends on time of day. So the first year it was open, 2023, was terrible. I feel like the ride was down half the time, and the Ops didn't really know what they were doing. It was always miserable to wait for this. I think I wrote it one time in 2023. I waited for forever. It was not a good experience. Last month I did get 2 more rides on it, and once was like the very end of the night, right at park close at like 10 o'clock, and they were churning through people at the end. They had gotten their groove, so I only waited like 5 minutes more. It was pretty good. So, but still, at the end of the day, it's a Wild Mouse. It's not worth losing sleep over if you don't manage to ride it. No worse than any other Wild Mouse? Yeah, that's definitely true. Most Wild Mouses, I've made this color before, I think most Wild Mouses suck pretty hard. This is one of the few good ones. But I've only been on like 5, I want to say, so that's not a great sample size. So, just real quick, done some rearranging on my rankings. Compared to last time, I think some of the stuff in here shifted around a little bit. I will give a quick shout out to Blue Streak, which was dead last in my rankings last time we went over this, but this year and last year, I feel like it's been running a lot better. Definitely not as rough as it used to be. Almost got a little bit of airtime, you know, that kind of stuff. So Blue Streak is creeping up there. It's getting better. So yeah, Corkscrew being last is valid. I feel like I want to like Corkscrew, but yeah, every time I ride it, it just bangs you around. It's not very fun. Yo, Bacon, what's up? Other than that, I don't think anything too surprising here. Let's see. I want to say, I know I always put Millennium Force first. Steel Vengeance is like a close second. But this year, I think I would flop them around. I had some kind of medium rides on Millennium Force and some fantastic rides on Steel Vengeance this year. Millennium Force is always #1 for me because of like a lot of it's because of nostalgia. So even though it's my favorite, I can still say that Steel Vengeance is probably the better ride. But I definitely could flop the 1 and 2 around here and not be too upset about it. Nostalgia I feel like nostalgia is a factor, and I think it's valid. There's a lot going for Millennium Force that's not just the ride itself. Like I've talked about this before, like the way the station ops are, kind of the general vibe, especially when you're doing night rides on it. Night rides on Millennium are top tier. So, but yeah, very strong top 3. Definitely agree. So, and again, ratings are subjective. You do whatever you want. But yeah. Other than that, I feel like nothing on this has really changed a whole lot. Trying to look over this, seeing if anything worth talking about. Not really. So that's it for Cedar Point. Had some good trips this year. Really enjoyed the RCT Streamers event that we did a couple weeks ago. Met everybody up. That was a lot of fun. Definitely more fun at Cedar Point with a bunch of other nerds just riding coasters all day. It's a good time. Cedar Point is removing one of their water rides. Yeah, I think tomorrow, in fact, because today's the 1st. Tomorrow is the last day to ride their splash boat. I've never been on it because I'm not a big fan of water rides in general, especially not ones that get you very wet. So I'm not too sad about it. Hopefully they find something cool to put there, but who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, that's true. 43. We did get the Ferris wheel credit. This is the first time I had ever ridden the giant wheel at Cedar Point. Pretty fun. Pretty good Ferris wheel. Mostly because you get some sweet views of a sweet park, so. All right, let's move along. Quick shout out to the Merry-Go-Round Museum. So this is a separate establishment in downtown Sandusky, just a short drive away from Cedar Point. We stopped there on the way in, Jordan and I, on our last trip, just to give a quick little tour. And it's actually a really cool place. It's hard to say, like, from the photos. Like, I took a bunch of photos. It's actually pretty sizable. There's a lot to look at. I mean, most of it's just, you know, various merry-go-round horses from, you know, the last 100+ years. But they've got some cool little displays. I really liked there was a whole display case full of memorabilia from Euclid Beach, which, if you're not from Ohio, probably means nothing to you. But that was really awesome to see. They also have a working merry-go-round that you get to ride while you're there, and it is actually a really good merry-go-round. It goes quite fast, and you get a lot of vertical movement on the horses, so it was a good time. It was a very exhilarating merry-go-round. Hours are short. Yeah, it's tough to get to if you don't plan for it. We deliberately had kind of a late start to the day because it takes us 2 hours to drive there anyway. And we hit this thing first, pretty much right when it opened, before we went to Cedar Point afterwards. We only stayed for maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. It's not, you know, a very lengthy stop, but there's a lot of cool stuff to look at. So, yeah, good stuff. All right, let's move along real quick to Kings Island. Got some new credits here to talk about. So first of all, they're new for 2024 Family Boomerang, Snoopy Snowbox Racers. I have not ridden a Family Boomerang before, and is just what you think it would be. It's a short coaster for families, younger children. Not particularly fast, not particularly thrilling. It just kind of goes out. There's a couple little hills, goes up the spike, comes back. It's fine. It was pretty fun. I've ridden this a couple times now. Yeah, I'm not a fan of going backwards. So boomerangs like this, not really great for me personally. I don't know what it is about going backwards. It just makes my body feel kind of weird. I don't like it. But it's a cute little coaster. I think I got a couple of front row rides and a back row ride. I think front row is probably better on this one, despite not going, I guess, as much speed through the layout as you would in the back row. The little hump you get over going over the spike, this little hump here, you don't hit that at all in the back row, but if you're in the front row, you get a little pop of airtime going over that spike going backwards. That was kind of cool. But in general, it's fine. If you have little kids, they will probably like it, but you know, it's otherwise, you know, maybe ride it once or twice, and that you'll get your experience's worth, and that's about all there is to it. Okay, we have one other very important new credit from Kings Island, and that is the Great Pumpkin Coaster. That's right. So I got it on, I heard rumors, good authority, that adults are allowed to ride this without children, which I did not know was the case. And I was there last night, and it was a pretty dead day, especially for a Saturday. And I had done pretty much everything else I wanted to do. I walked over to Great Pumpkin Coaster. I even walked up to the person running the photo booth just to, like, I want to make sure that I can ride this without a kid. And they said yes. So I waited like 20 minutes for this thing to, for a couple trains to go past, and I rode the tiny kiddie coaster. It is very stupid. The best part about this coaster is the train is about the same length as the hill. So I waited like two or three trains for this. They put me in the front row because I was the first person in line when we were filling the new train. And because the train is so long, by the time the back car is over the chain lift, the front car is already at the bottom of the hill. So you get no speed going over the first hill. But then you get really pushed over the first hill, which is only like, you know, 1.5 feet tall, but still. So you get a little bit of ejector going over that, which is kind of fun, actually. And you get to do 2 laps. But aside from that, this coaster has absolutely nothing going for it because it's for babies. So, shouldn't be surprising. Yeah, no, I wasn't, this was not early entry. I think I rode this thing at like 9 p.m., which I figured that by that point it was getting dark. Most people would be taking their kids home, so they go to bed. So the lines would be pretty short. But the kiddie area was still pretty populated. It took a while longer after this for it to clear out. So, the second lap has a pronounced jerk as it engages the chain. I think both laps had a pronounced jerk as they engaged the chain. Like you really felt a jolt when this thing hits the chain lift. It was pretty rough. But yeah, so ride this if you really want to, I guess. Know that you're probably going to be making some other poor little kid wait an extra 5 minutes so that your dumb adult ass can get the credit. So only do this if you really, you know, have some self-reflection beforehand. So, yeah. Am I ashamed I did it? Maybe just a little bit. But, you know, it was 20 minutes of my day, so I can't be too mad about it. All right, so that leads us to that's the deep insight, exactly. So that leads us to our updated rankings for Kings Island. These, I think, have shifted a lot over the years. I don't remember what my rankings were when I did my first Kings Island report, but these have shuffled around a lot, mostly because Kings Island doesn't have like a definitive like top 3 like Cedar Point does. Like it kind of for me a little bit, but like the top 5 have shuffled around a whole bunch. Like I think Beast, after I rode Beast the first time, it was my number 1, and now it's down to 5. So things have shifted around a lot. Even after I did get my first night ride on Beast last night, which was, I will say, very awesome. And like that might have put it in like the number 1 or 2 spot just by that alone. I feel like that'd be unfair to give it a bump for a night ride because most rides are better at night. Like I also rode Diamondback and Mystic Timbers at night, and they were both a lot better at night too. So I don't see why B should get, you know, the extra bump there. Anyway, not really important. So I think my top 2 are pretty solid at this point, but a lot of stuff below that can be shifted around. But yeah, Great Pumpkin Coaster sliding in at the bottom for obvious reasons. Woodstock's Air Rail, my new second to last bottom. Every time I've ridden that the last couple years, it has sucked pretty hard. It's so rough and uncomfortable. Props to Invertigo. I boosted my ranking for Invertigo a little bit. I had a great ride on it yesterday, actually. Maybe it's because I was in the front, and that made a difference for some reason. I don't know, but it felt like it was a little bit smoother than usual. So, you know, that was fun. So good job, Invertigo. We'll see if that's enough to keep you in the park for a few more years. All right, so that's all for Kings Island. Again, great times there at Kings Island this year. So one more Ohio credit to talk about, and that turns out there is a coaster here in Columbus, in my very own city. It is one of these spinning figure 8 powered mall coasters. And this one, I think I'm more ashamed to have gotten the credit for than for Great Pumpkin Coaster, because this thing was stupid. So this was from like, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. We had the day off, and we went to, this is a mall on the other side of town that has basically like a family fun center that they, I think it used to be like a Macy's or something that, you know, they turned into this amusement center. They got like arcade games. I think they got a go-kart track. They've got a drop tower, which I didn't go on, but I kind of wanted to, but Jordan said we had to leave. So, but they also have a roller coaster. And it's one of the ones where it kind of goes in a figure eight loop. It's technically got like a lift hill, but I think it's powered pretty much the entire way. But the cars spin, and you get like 5 laps on this, which feels like way too many laps. And it was okay. Honestly, it was better than I was expecting it was going to be. I expected it to be trash. We actually get some speed going down that first hill. The spinning on it was pretty good, probably because I was the only person on the ride. So the weight in my car was off balance, so I got some good spinning that way. But it's not worth the price of admission, I will say. Because the way that this park works, you have to get you pay for these with like points, and you have to put the points on a card, and then you have to buy a card. So it was like $3 to buy the card, and then you had to load up the card with points. I think I put like $10 on it, so it cost me $13 to ride this coaster. Now technically I have points left over on the card, I think. I have no way of knowing what the balance is, but I don't know if I'm ever going to go back there, at least not anytime soon. So yeah, not worth it. Yeah, too many laps. I felt like maybe 3 laps would have been good, but 5 I felt like was too many. Maybe they even went more. It just felt like a lot of laps. So yeah, another coaster that I rode just to say I rode it, which yeah, turns out not always worth it. Okay, so that's all for Ohio coasters. Next I want to do a little recap of some Disney coasters. Completely shift gears here. So I haven't done a coaster report on Disney because we went this year, back in June, and I think the last time we'd been there before then was 2019, so it had been a while. And I wasn't even going to do a coaster report on Disney because, you know, Disney's, you know, one of the most attended parks in the world. You've got tons of vloggers and whatever who do all kinds of stuff about it. So if you want some actual, like, real informed opinions on Disney, I'm not the person to ask. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't ask me these questions. But I guess I can give you some brief summaries on what the coasters are like. You're not going to go Disney for the coasters, though. So keep that in mind. It's not a coaster park. They just happen to have some coasters. And some of them are okay, turns out. Some of them are, eh. But you're not really going there to rack up credits. Because it took me 20 years to get all the credits at Disney. Yes, I can give you lots of uninformed opinions. I mean, most of my opinions are uninformed. I don't know why anyone listens to anything I say. So yeah, we did go on a trip back in June, and after that trip, through some effort on my part, I did manage to complete the credit collection at Disney. All of the operating coasters they have there, I have now ridden, so I can tell you about some of them. So we're gonna go, I think, in chronological order. I have these listed. Space Mountain, their oldest one, the old Aero. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe what kind of ride this is. It's a little bit like a Wild Mouse because you got a lot of little hairpin turns, but you got a lot of little swoopy bits. This one's fun. I don't know why I have it a C+. It feels like it should be higher, but I guess that's just kind of the way my rankings turned out. It's super janky. It's from 1975 and it really feels like it. The cars are like really cramped and everything feels very rattly. But I think that jank is a lot of the appeal, at least for rides like this. So this one's a lot of fun. Definitely one that I would want to try to hit at least once next time I go, whenever that will be. So I'm gonna try to blast through these because there's a lot and I don't have a lot to say about most of them. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It's a big mine train. Turns out Disney likes mine trains a lot because like half of their coasters are just mine trains. Mine trains are fun, but there's not a ton of variety there. So Big Thunder Mountain, it's a big mine train. If you've ridden an Aero mine train, it's pretty much the same thing. It's a Vekoma mine train, but they're all the same. It's fun though. It's really big, which is cool. You get some nice speed on those hills. You get some nice forces on those helix. It's a good ride. Got some nice decoration, like all Disney rides. It's better than B-. B- is a good score. It's just that there are a lot of coasters that happen to be better than it. B- is still a good score. I want to make that clear. My rankings may not reflect your rankings, but I think B- is pretty good. Was it working at Disney? Yeah, I feel like I don't really keep up on track with like how their rides like are operating, like when they're up and down. I feel like we've usually been pretty lucky that everything's always been been up when we go, but usually we just kind of like see what's available and we ride it. So it just happened to get a ride on Big Thunder Mountain. We did go on it last year, or this past trip. But you know, all these rides are like, you ride it one time because it takes an hour to wait for the line, and then you got 1,000 other things you want to do instead. So yeah, ops are generally pretty good, isn't he? I will say that. I feel like for not just for coasters, but all rides in general, they're usually churning through people pretty quick. They train their people pretty well. They know how to get people through rides. It also helps a lot that they have a very relaxed regulations on like carry-ons. Like their rides are all designed that you can take all your crap with you on the rides, all your backpacks and whatnot. So that makes loading and unloading a lot quicker, which is nice. So that does help. All right, Barnstormer, this was a new credit for me this year. My first time riding this, I wanted to give it a shot. This has been in the park for a long time. It's a little Vekoma Junior coaster, so it's pretty much the same as like Woodstock Express at Cedar Point, that kind of thing. And it's pretty bad. I don't really have a great memory of it, even though it was just a few months ago, but that's because it's not a very memorable coaster. It's not very, it's not very fast. It's not very forceful because it's, you know, it's a coaster for kids. It felt a little rattly, which I usually don't care about rattle, but this one was enough that I've, you know, thought it was notable. So not very comfortable, but overall, you know, it's fine. I feel like it's not a very Disney coaster though. It feels like a fun fair coaster that just like happens to exist in Magic Kingdom, which feels out of place. I don't know why this coaster is still here. Like it makes sense that they took the Wild Mouses out of Animal Kingdom a couple years ago, because they're like, yeah, these don't really fit the park. We got something better we can put here, which I don't think they really did. And this one is, yeah, I feel like the same way. I don't know if this one will stick around much longer, just because I feel like Disney's the kind of company to be like, this doesn't fit here, even though it's a perfectly serviceable ride, it still works. You know, we could put something better here. No, they didn't replace it. I thought they were going to put something there and they just haven't yet. I don't know. Again, uninformed opinions. Ask somebody else about it. All right, a coaster I did not ride this year, but it's in the list. Rock and Roller Coaster. This one, we rode it like 1,000 times on one of our first trips back in like, I think 2003. I wrote down. It's not bad if you've ridden like Flight of Fear or any of the other premier launch coasters. It's pretty much the same thing. I feel like this one is a little bit smooth. I don't know if I feel like it's a little bit smoother because it's bigger. It's a little bit bigger scale. Definitely a lot easier to get in and out of those trains for sure compared to the premier ones. And it's got good theming, I guess, compared to similar rides. It's fine. It's pretty good. All right, Expedition Everest. I think this is listed as probably my top coaster. It was my top coaster before this year. This one's a pretty solid ride. Another really big mine train. Pretty much does the same kind of thing as Big Thunder Mountain, except it's got the switchback elements to it, which are pretty cool. I think when I rode it this year, we got trapped on the switchback for a couple minutes. I don't know what was happening, if there were like issues with blocks not clearing or something. We get up like that top of that switchback section, and then we just waited. It's kind of, you know, takes you out of it a little bit. Yeah, Bob Box Body. It still does have the Aerosmith theming. I'm pretty sure. Again, we did not ride it this past trip, but every time I've ridden it, it's been Aerosmith themed. I think that might be expiring at some point in the near future, or they're going to re-theme it. Again, uninformed opinions. I don't know. Anyway, Expedition Everest, pretty good stuff. Do recommend. Even though I don't like going backwards. I don't like that part very much. All the same. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think this is one of Jordan's favorites, if I remember right. It's another mine train. And the difference on this one is that the cars swing side to side relative to the track. I don't remember anything about this one. Big Thunder's your fave? I knew Big Thunder was your fave. I thought this one was up there. We didn't ride this one. I don't remember anything about it, so don't ask me questions. It was very forgettable, which is what I have written here, because I don't remember I don't remember anything about it, so it makes you sick. Okay. I didn't mind it, I don't think. I do remember that it has a good little like dark ride section through it. So there's mostly coaster. I don't remember if it's the beginning or the end, but there's like a dark ride section where you go through some little mine areas. And it's pretty cute. That part was fun. But yeah, it's a Disney coaster. It's fine. Okay. Slinky Dog Dash. This is a new one for me for this year. It's a mock launch coaster. You got 2 launches, and it doesn't really do anything with either of them. I waited like 90 minutes for this because this is like the last day of the trip. Like, I haven't ridden this thing yet. I've been trying for a long time to get on this stupid coaster. So I'm gonna go first thing in the morning when the park opens, get in line right away. Apparently everyone else had the same idea, so I waited for forever for this, and it was not worth it. This ride is pretty uneventful, I guess. The launches are not particularly fast or powerful, and it doesn't really do a whole lot with that speed. There's not a lot of big hills. There's not a lot of forceful turns. It's just fine. It was not worth the wait. Also, the stupid Slinky Dog head at the front in the front car blocks your view. You can't see where you're going no matter where you are in the train. That's kind of annoying. So yeah, Rise was down that day. You're right. I do remember. So everyone must have gone to Slinky Dog. It felt like that was the case. Yeah, it was packed. It was not fun. Okay, let's talk about some good coasters. So Guardians, their 2022 coaster, another custom Vekoma one. This one was pretty good. So everyone, I think, hyped this coaster up to be amazing. And for a Disney coaster, yeah, I would say yes, it is probably the best Disney coaster. We'll find out in my rankings here in a minute. But I liked it quite a bit. You get some nice launches. I think the first launch is backwards, which I didn't mind so much. I guess there's some kind of backwards motion that I can handle. And the flat backwards launch was okay. You get some really good spinning. You get a lot of nice tight turns. It's in the dark, which is a little annoying because I do like to see where we're going. I think it's more exciting to see where you're going than just, be surprised. Lighting effects are really cool. Although I prefer, big screens with just video on them is not the greatest theming. I know it impresses a lot of people, but not really for me. I'm not a big fan of the superhero theme, so I don't know. That's just me. That being said, though, yeah, still a pretty fun coaster. And if you can get on it, because this and Tron, which we'll talk about in a minute, are impossible to get on if you don't read the 1,000 page manual of how to do the fast queue and the reserved ride times for these stupid rides. Their whole system right now is a whole cluster, and it's just the worst. The only reason I managed to get on this one is because we went during extra hours at night, and I kind of snuck in basically. I don't think I was supposed to, but the people who were waiting at the entrance, the staff, I guess, weren't really paying attention, and they just let me through. So didn't wait, which was pretty awesome. But I don't think I was supposed to. Otherwise, this is another one that is going to take you a long time to get on. But for a Disney coaster, yeah, pretty worth it. It was good. It was a good time. Knocking on my door. Look, I'm long gone. I'm in another state now. They can't do anything. If I ever go back though, then yeah, I'll be in handcuffs immediately. So Tron, our last one, this is their newest coaster, the motorcycle straddle coaster from last year. This one is also pretty good. No spinning on this one, no backward stuff, just straightforward launch and a lot of hills, a lot of turns. Pretty fun. I like this one. Jordan did not. It was too much for her. But this sucks, I guess. But for a Disney coaster, pretty good in comparison to regional park extreme rides. You're not gonna get anything terribly much out of it in comparison to those, but it's got good theming. It was well lit enough inside that you could kind of see what was going on. That was nice. There were some cool effects. There was a point where your train goes past a mirrored wall, and you're on the orange motorcycles and you're facing off against the green ones or vice versa, whatever, and you're going past the mirror and they change the lighting on one half of the train so that in the mirror you see it and it looks like you're riding next to a train of a different color, which, you know, was a cool little effect. So stuff like that, little things that I think made this ride kind of neat. So yeah, fun coaster. Again, good luck getting on it. When we rode it, we managed to get like, we had to, because you have to like buy stupid fast lanes to get on it. So like $20 and you can wait 10 minutes instead of 2 hours. But yeah, like a huge line for the standby. It's not even really standby. It's like scheduled standby. You wait for a specific time and then you go stand in the line and you wait some more. It's awful. Yeah, the virtual queue thing. Again, don't ask me the specifics. I don't really know. All I know is that it sucked. And we tried to do the virtual queue like a couple times and we couldn't do it, so we finally had to bite the bullet and pay the extra for the fast lanes, and it was not good. But if that's what you're there to do, you're right there to ride the coasties, that's what you gotta do. All right, so here's my rankings. Again, nothing too surprising here. You're not going to Disney for the coasters though, so the ranking doesn't really mean a whole lot. There's a lot of other awesome stuff at Disney to ride. I'm not going to go over any of that because we'd be here all day if I did. But they do have some great flats and other track rides and events and things to see that aren't even rides. So, but again, if you want opinions on those kinds of things, go talk to a person who knows what they're talking about. I'm just here for the coasties. I think that's the end of my slideshow. It is the end of my slideshow. Thank you for joining me on this coaster report.